Chavrusa Daf.
Okay, finishing the parak, finishing Nazir 1 in the art scroll.
We have seltzer and Pez for. We're just gonna go another 2 minutes.
Yeah, we started and stopped this recording, but we're back.
Okay. Let's go for Mishnah.
The first Mishnah, I'm on a Dalet, I'm an Aleph. Someone, it's a koi. Someone saw a koi. Koi is an animal. The pest sour is minus impact the throat. A koi is an animal that has been variously identified as the offspring of a he-goat with a hind. What's a hind? Or as some distinct species, not a hybrid. The Talmud teaches that it is unknown whether the koi belongs in the class of domestic animals or wild animals. It is even possible that koi constitutes a separate class of animal that is neither wild nor domestic. The precise classification of the koi, which is in any event a kosher animal, has several halachic ramifications. The fats of a domestic animal may not be eaten, but the animal's blood need not be covered after slaughter. On the other hand, the fats of a wild animal may be eaten, but the animal's blood must be covered after slaughter. Kisei hadam. So someone saw a koi, and he said, "Harini Nazir shezeh chaya." I'm hereby a Nazir that this is a wild animal. That this is chaya.
Yeah. Here it is a chaya. Harini
Nazir she'ena chaya. Or he said it's not a wild animal. Harini Nazir shezeh behema. Oh, number 2 said, I'm hereby Nazir that it's not a wild animal.
Oh, we're all somewhat different cases? Oh, whatever. Yeah, different people, fine.
Harini Nazir shezeh behema. Or someone said, I'm hereby Nazir that this is a domestic animal.
It's all going to be the same, though.
Harini Nazir zeh behema. I'm here, 4th guy said, hereby Nazir that this is not a domestic animal. Harini Nazir shezeh chaya ubehema. That this is both a wild animal and a domestic animal. Harini Nazir shezeh loy chaya v'loy behema. I'm hereby Nazir that this is neither a wild animal nor a domestic animal. Harini Nazir she'echad mikem Nazir. The 7th addresses 1 through 6, and he says, I'm hereby Nazir that one of you is a Nazir. The Harini Nazir...
Only one of you usually, right? Or maybe not, I don't know.
Doesn't say only.
Okay.
That one of you is a Nazir. Harini Nazir she'ein echad mikem Nazir. The 8th is addressing 1 through 6, and he says, I'm hereby Nazir that one of you is not a Nazir. Harini Nazir she'kolchem Nazirin. The 9th one addresses 1 through 6, and said, I'm hereby Nazir that all of you are Nazirim. Harini kulon Nazirim. The result is that all of them are Nazirim. Seemingly, Zak note 10, the Mishnah means that all 9 are definite Nazirim, and thereby reflects the view of Beis Shammai in the case of the 6 travelers who said, he said, Harini, or Elu kulon Nazirim. They're all Nazirim. Here too, Beis Shammai ruled that the vows were not actually conditional or represent the definite adoption of Nazirs based on the premises that might be mistaken. Since erroneous consecration is effective in Beis Shammai's view, the Nazir's vows are all effective. Even the vows of those who have been mistaken in premises will let them to deduct the vow. But why would the Mishnah lay down an anomalous ruling in accordance with halacha with the halachically rejected view of Beis Shammai?
How interesting.
The old Beis Shammai. Perhaps, however, the Mishnah means that they are Nazirim due to doubt and reflects the view of Reb Shimon, who follows Beis Hill in invalidating erroneous consecration. Who holds in the Mishnah on 32b. Okay, but what I do want to tell you is, I wanted to ask you, in the other case, or even in this case, what makes them Nazirim? Is it that it's not based on the vow, and therefore we don't really care about the condition, and we're going based off of their conviction, right? And they have full conviction, so therefore they're...
That's the traveler case, so that's why...
So then what's the tais? So why are we relying on Beis Shammai and it's a tais, textbook, Tais, Nazir, then you're still a Nazir. Like, why do you have to rely on Beis Shammai if you say that there's no condition? And that's why it's one or the other, right? You don't need to.
I hear you. Right.
That's why,
I wasn't thinking about it.
The two, because it says it earlier also.
When we said it earlier, it wasn't Dafka in Beis Shammai.
No, right. No, I was learning because they talk about this in one of the notes. It spoke about that it's definitive, that it's not conditional because you're asserting yourself, and it says, also according to Beis Shammai, it works because when you make a mistake, you're still a nazir.
It's hektish.
Right. It's a similar idea of hektish.
So you're saying you could go in both of those explanations. Fine. So don't ask the question. Say it could be going in both ways, right? It could either be going that it's this conviction. I understand that the note said it thereby reflects right. Shammai, but like can we go based on that note that we saw by the 6 travelers?
Okay, both ideas. Fine. Now we have a Gemara. It says we shall return to the Beis Shammai. Even though we don't pass them like you, we're gonna go there. We're gonna come back.
By the Beis Mikdash, we're gonna pass them like Beis Shammai. Bisman Mashiach.
Yeah.
You know that? So Mamish Hajrach Beis Shammai.
You listen to any of Rabbi Breidowitz?
No.
Did I tell you?
Oh, I did. That's not true. I turned it on. I picked a random one. I didn't pick a good one.
You didn't pick a good one. Okay. I'm happy that you felt that it was totally on the actual speech, not like your din.
I mean, I could see it being interesting depending on the question. But yeah, I didn't get too into it.
Okay. Take away the Gemara.
The Gemara records two Bryce the parallel mission. Tani Chada, Tisha Nazirin, V'tani Idach, Tisha Naziris. All right, so same thing, where they're all 9 of them are Nazirin. Bishlam Tisha Nazirin.
Hold on, go to the notes.
I think actually I understand what the difference is. One case is 9 people can become Nazirin because the declaration is involving a Kai. That is, the Brisa states that there is a case in which one person who makes a Nazir declaration about a Kai becomes obligated to observe 9 terms of Naziris. Oh, so is it 9 people? So we understood obviously as 9 different people, right?
Oh, but it could be one guy saying, I'll be a Nazir for this term if that's it. I'll be like for another term if that's it.
That's interesting. Now, that could be 9 terms because, like, there I would say it's mutually exclusive because you can't tell me he has the conviction on each one of them. Then I would say you have to come onto like Beis Shammai where it's like hektish tais. You know what I'm saying? Like, how could you have the conviction? I'm a Nazir if it is a behemoth. I'm a Nazir if it's not a behemoth. Like, he knows.
Then you have to come out there and fight that.
You know what I'm saying? All right.
Yeah.
Bishlam,
but it's not. This is not bombarding the Mishnah. It's just talking about 2 separate risas that are similar in concept.
But that's talk about it in one case of 9 people, and one case of 9 Nazir, so 1 person. Okay. You're good. Yeah. Yes. Bishlam Atisha Nazirin, 9 different people. Kagain Dahabi Gavri Tvei. The case is one in which there were a number of people. The Isbis Va'azalbe. Without with reference to the Kai in our Mishnah. Thus, the statement of the first price is perfectly understandable. Right? Same case as the one that's in the Mishnah. Elatisha Naziris. Chad Gavra.
Your question. Your question, Binyomin.
Thank you. Fish, I'm glad.
It's so obvious. There's no note to even explain the question, which you don't often see.
Yes, you don't. You know, I think it was the end of. They're like, no, there's room. They have more room here. All right. Vishlama shis mishkach. Oh, no, the Gemara refines the discussion. Vishlama shish mishkach. And it is understandable that you can find a case of 6 terms of Nazirus kedetnan, as it states in our Mishnah. Basically the first 6. But how do you have, right? There were 6 cases, and then it was the 7th talking about the first 6 people, and the 8th talking to the first 6 people, and the 9th talking to the first 6 people. So if it's one person, how can he be talking back to the 6 statements that he said?
Yeah, but that one person still can't get 6 Nazirs out of it. 6 terms. They're contradicting.
Okay, that's not the Gemara's question.
Oh, let's just assume that he's with conviction. He's able to make 6. Okay.
With conviction, but then how could it say? Right. The last 3, they're all addressing. It's like the 7th guy addressing 1 through 6 said, "I'm a Nazir." That one of you is a Nazir.
He's not talking about the clay anymore.
Right.
He's
He's
talking about Nazir.
the 6 people, which are him now. So.
Oh, is that it?
You remember now we're talking about if it's one person.
Other people. This time not directions. We're only seeing a person who's well. How can a person who made all these 6 decorations? More answers. He has multiple personality disorder.
Amar of Sheshas, Kigain de Amar, Harini Nazir, Unaziris Hakol Olai. I'm hereby Nazir, and the Naziris of all is upon me. The Brisa deals with the case in which a 10th person witnesses the declarations made by the 9 people of our Mishnah's case. Then declares himself to be a Nazir for as many terms as all of the 9 are obligated to observe. Since all 9 are Nazirim, this 10th person is a Nazir for 9 terms. Okay, so it's a totally different case of 9 Naziris. In the case of the Brisa where it says there's 9 Naziris, there's actually 9 terms of Naziris. There's actually a 10th guy who said, I will take as many terms of Nazirs as there are Nazirs. In that case, turns out they're all 9 Nazirim, so this 10th guy has to take 9 terms.
So we're not talking about a case where it's just one person?
Basically, even in the 9 terms case, you still have to explain it that there were 9 people. Because it doesn't make sense. Because how could you have the last 3? They're referring to people 1 through 6. So that's how the Gemara answers it.
And the reason all 9 of them is because they said it with conviction.
Yeah, well, that you just go back to the Mishnah's way of explaining it.
Meaning,
it goes back to, it's the same case as our Mishnah. You could explain it. Yeah. But who's your question?
No, I'm just going back. If you say hekdesh, talis hekdesh, meaning it's possible for all 9 of them to be Nazirim in that case, even though they're contradicting each other, or asserting. That's why if it works. Yeah,
I think so.
Hadran Allah Beis
Shammai. We shall return to you, Beis
We
Shammai.
shall turn to you. Hey, look at Beis Shammai.
Nice. Okay. Let's take this tab. I'll give it over into the nets.
Shout out to anyone listening to this in the year 2030, late 2030. That's the next time that went from Nazir.
Or maybe the person found us. Like, mazel tov to you, on finishing chapter 5.
Yeah.
All of that, Beis Shammai.
Okay, so now we have the new parish that addresses a Nazir. Shleisha Minin Asurin ben Nazir. 3 matters. You ready? Did the Mishnah Gemara that we just finished before?
No.
Oh, okay. Shleisha Minin Asurin ben Nazir. 3 matters are forbidden to a Nazir. Hatuma v'atiglachas v'yetzim min defen. Tumah, head shaving, and products of the grapevine. So interesting, because this is what I thought the Masechta would be about. Like, that's how it would start. Remember the first Mishnah in Nazir, what it spoke about?
I should, right? Wait,
I know.
let me think. Nazir. Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah, well,
Oh, it was talking about the ways of saying it, like the Yadais and
oh, yeah, I remember that.
Nazik.
Interesting. I think it's how, like, in the Dharma Sark also, no?
That's how I remember that. Nazir, yeah.
So, now that you've become a Nazir, this is what is forbidden to you. I would imagine also you have to know what you're getting into. You can't be like Harini Nazir and then be like, what am I not like to?
I don't know. You mean, yeah? Is that...
Because then it'd be like, oh, I have Charata, I wouldn't do it.
Okay, so you're right.
All products of the grapevine combine one with the other to compose the linen around necessary for liability. Until he eats an olive volume of grapes or grape products.
Mm-hmm.
So if he has a little grape juice and he tastes the skin of the grape, has to combine to be a kazais. Is an olive bigger than a grape?
Is an olive bigger than... I feel like they're very similar. I would say maybe it's slightly bigger, right? Yeah, grape's a bigger one, right?
Anything of note on the bottom?
Well, I was trying to see if if let's say you are a Nazir, are you allowed to take a sip of wine if it's less than a share?
Maybe you're not. You don't get lashes, but you're not allowed to have benefit from it.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, what would be what's the and what's the repercussion? Is it like the type thing? It's usher. You don't have to bring carbon. It's usher, but you're not gonna get lashes. Like, or is it like no? It's as if you did nothing.
I'm sure there's the rabbanon.
So is there a rabbanon even a mashu?
Yeah, I would imagine that the rabbanon, right? You're not allowed to do that because it might lead to something more.
So you're making it a up?
Yeah.
Which I hear, right? On Shabbos, you're not allowed to carry a grist worth of a barley, everything. But if you carry less than that, are you chayiv at all, or are you chayiv?
Yeah, no, it's a good question.
I think you're right. I think there is an isser and even a mashu, but this is a question for Avi. Instead of telling Avi, why don't we just ask Avi?
Oh, you get him on the phone?
Get him on the phone? We could do a voice note.
Yeah.
Let's do a voice note.
We're going to do a voice note right now.
Voice note to Avi.
We have someone here putting on Talis Tefillin. Beautiful.
Folding out.
It's never too late.
The secret.
Avi. Do I have this? I better have this number. Avi Lind. Oh, that's what I did. Abby.
When's Coach Rabani going to the principals of the schools asking him why the tuition is so high?
Tuition. It's hard. It's hard.
I don't have Avi Linder's phone number.
I don't know if they'll be so super.
Ramsey was great, by the way.
Yeah, you liked it?
Yeah. You flew down there? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no problem. It's not like we're recording anyway. This is going to be on YouTube. You excited?
What? That last one you did?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Ramsey was great.
Do you want to give me Avi Linder's number?
Yeah, let me punch it in so YouTube doesn't get everyone. I don't need everyone texting him.
Did you say Kentucky? Arkansas? Or?
I thought they called Moshe Spiegel, but I hung up. Is that?
We're now talking to him.
Guess the next episode.
Kentucky?
He's in, Dave Rams is in Franklin, Tennessee. So we have to fly into Nashville and get a ride there.
Is he going to be upset if I call him at 9:30 on a Sunday night?
No, he's not going to know who you are.
He has a whole complex there?
He has, a massive facility. Yeah.
What is it? That's where his class is.
Hello.
Hi, Avi.
Who's calling?
This is Binyomin Swerdlik. You're live on Chavrusa Daf.
Oh my gosh. I've been waiting for this to call.
Okay, great. We just started the sixth parak of Nazir.
What mistake are we doing?
We're learning.
We have 30 seconds. Our friends at AT&T connected us. Your 30 seconds start now.
Okay, we're learning Nazir, and we started the first parak. We started the first Mishnah in Parak Vav of Shlosh Minim.
Didn't do it even yet.
Well, it's a basic question.
It's a Shas question. It's a Shas question.
Shas question.
So the Mishnah says that in Nazir, you're mitzaref different types of grapes, like a grape seed with the grape juice, and if it gets to the shear, which is a kazayas, then that's when you're chayiv, right? You're chayiv for malchus. So the question is, are you allowed to take a sip less than a kazayas? Is it going to be usher to drink a mashahu, or no? You could totally drink less than a kazayas. And I guess this is the question in other shiurim, maybe in Shas we have like carrying on Shabbos, etc.
Anything that Torah says you're not allowed to do, right? It doesn't means your putter if you do less than the shear, but that doesn't mean with a chila you could actually use the shear.
So it's an avera or it's not an avera?
It is another shear.
So what is it? The Rabbanon, you're not going to get malchus, you're not going to have to bring a carbon.
It's a Mishnah. It comes up in a lot of places in Shas. It's a Mishnah in Shabbos, and find the Mishnah at the end of one of the pressing. Chatzi shir asmin atayra.
Chatzi shir atayra.
Right. Chatzi shir asmin atayra. Right. There's a Mishnah at the end of the 12th parak in Shabbos. Talks about writing two ACS on Shabbos, one in the morning, one in the evening. Machlekes Rabbi Gamliel and Chachamim if you're chayiv from pater. That's machlekes the big deal chatzi shir. But in general, there's like you said a shas machlekes Magabe Chatzishir Asminat Torah or not.
Oh, so it's machlokes. So basically, it's machlokes if you were to do less than a shear, if it's aser or it's mutter chatchila.
Yeah.
So basically, patel aval aser or mutter, essentially, if you do less than.
But the concept of Chatzishir Asminat Torah, I don't know if that is subject to machlokes. There are a lot of machlokes surrounding in that sugya, but I think the general concept is universal.
Got it. All right.
Like
Well,
you can't say, Yom Kippur, let's say Yom Kippur, right? You can't eat on Yom Kippur. So I'll say, okay, well, how much am I eating? Am I eating the kazayas? Okay, so I'll eat less than the kazayas. I'll have a little bit in the morning, and it'll get me through the day.
right. Got it.
Right? So it's an Isser Chati share.
Got it. Well, thank you very much for coming on board.
There is a mandamar that says Chati share is much of an Atera. Right? It's brought up in the circuit, the Gabe Achel Yom Kippur. But there is a machlekes Gabe that also.
Wonderful.
It's machlekes Riyach and Rish Lakish. Riyach holds Chati share is Asman Atera. Rish Lakish Chati share is much of an Atera.
Great.
But even if you're Rish Lakish, to your point, even if you're Rish Lakish that says it's mutter, it's only the rights of the Brahman, you would agree that it's mutter.
Okay. So you're saying best case scenario, it's still aser midrabanan,
Correct.
even if there's no chiyuv malchus. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. I hope you win $1 million.
Good luck. Thank you. Now we go to Regis Philbin. I moved the phone. Nathan's not going to be happy with me.
Oh, no.
I needed to make sure that we heard Abi.
Yeah.
Okay, what does it say here on the Amud base?
All right. So it would be said in Chayim Hashiachim in the Kazais. Mishnah Rishayna Eimeras.
Who creates this whole Mishnah from Shabbos?
Oh.
Right. Oops. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Oh shit, I'm looking to see if it does it. Okay. Mishnah Rishayna Eimeras, an early Mishnah says, Ad Yishter Revius Yain. It's until he drinks a Revius of Yain, which is a quarter lug of wine. Rav Kiva Eimer, Afil Shara Pita Yain, even if he soaked his bread in wine, V'yesh Bakadil Tsarf, because ice, and there's enough in it, enough to add up to an olive's volume, Chayev. Okay, so basically there's machlokes of what the shear is. The Tanakamas seem to say you have to eat kazayas of grape products. Then the early Mishnah
on the Tanakh?
I think so. Early Mishnah says Revius, Leviayin.
And who's that? That's not the Tanakh.
Sure, this early Mishnah. It's like the second Tana. The
Right,
Tana
okay.
Tana.
He drinks a quarter log of wine.
Yeah. And then Rukiva argues and says,
Before we said look at note 2, the Mishnah's preceding clause has stated the minimum punishment volume for consuming grape products that are eaten. Here the Mishnah discusses the minimum punishable volume for consuming grape products that are drinkable. According to the view of the earlier Mishnah, the minimum volume for drinking is not the volume of knowledge, but the volume of a quarter log. A log is the volume of 6 eggs. A quarter log, then, is the volume of 1.5 eggs. Thus, the earlier Mishnah distinguishes between the minimum volume necessary for eating and that for drinking. Okay? However, Rabbi Akiva says, Afilu shara pitoi biyayin, even if he soaked his bread in wine, v'yesh bakadei letzarv kazayas, and there is in it enough to add up to an olive's volume.
I mean, of pita? Of bread?
Meaning takes the bread,
But you add in
dips it in wine,
bread's volume?
and in the
Or the amount of wine? Because obviously the amount of wine, that's like...
it's the amount of wine, and there is in the bread is enough wine to add up to an olive's volume. He is liable to lashes for consuming it.
Okay, Rav Kiva's statement here actually contains two critical elements. First, Rav Kiva states that in regard to a Nazir's prohibition, the minimum volume needed for liability need not consist entirely of forbidden grape products. Rather, if grape products are combined with permitted matter, like bread soaked in wine, then the Nazir incurs lashes for consuming the kazayas of the mixture, even though he has not consumed the kazayas of grape products.
Oh, because he's now consuming grape bread.
Right. This is known as heter mitzdaref le'isser. permitted combined with the forbidden. See Gemara book. Second, critical item. By stating that the bread combines with the wine to comprise the minimum volume of an olive, Rabbi Akiva indicates that even in regard to grape products that are drinkable, the minimum volume for which a Nazir incurs lashes is a kazayas rather than a quarter lug, which is considerably greater than a kazayas. So in a way, he's actually more mako, because he's saying that the person will have to I'm sorry. No.
He's machmer.
The more machmer because kazayas is a small one. All right, which is yes. Sorry. Yeah. The minimum volume. Let's get the line. The minimum volume for which a Nazir incurs lashes is a kazayas rather than a quarter lug, which is really greater than kazayas. So he's double machmer here. This is the view of the later Mishnah, which, in contrast to the early Mishnah, considers a kazayas to be the minimum punishable volume for all things that a Nazir is forbidden to consume. Thus, if a Nazir drinks a kazayas of wine or wine vinegar, he is subject to lashes according to this
So
view.
the earlier Mishnah said a quarter log of wine, and the later Mishnah said actually it's a lesser amount. And oh, by the way, if you take bread and mix it with wine, you're going to be chayav. I mean, assuming Rabbi Akiva is the later Mishnah, right?
Well, Rabbi Akiva.
Or Rabbi Akiva's quoted in the earlier Mishnah.
So again, the first Tanna Kama says kazayas. Then Mishnah Rishayna says revius.
Oh, really?
Then Rabbi
Early
Akiva
Mishnah.
goes back and says chayav on a kazayas. So it's kazayas, revius, kazayas.
Well, this Mishnah that we're quoting second, it actually came first. So initially we had this machlekes, the Tanna Kama and Rabbi Akiva. Tanna Kama says you have to drink a quarter log of wine. Rabbi Akiva is much more machmer.
Right.
He says you need to soak the bread in wine. If you soak the bread in wine, we really care about the kazayas portion.
Yeah.
It's combined, and oh, by the way, to drink, it's a kazayas, not a log.
Which, if you want to know, by the way, what like these lug and kazayas that they are in modern day, I'm pretty sure a kazayas is about a shot glass, which is like 1 ounce, and a revius is about 4 ounces.
Kazayas is a shot glass?
Yeah. About. Don't like kill me over here, but
Okay.
wrong. So it's like 4 times the amount. I'm like, so yeah, a revius is much bigger.
Much bigger.
Much bigger.
Huge.
4 times bigger than a kazayas.
Yeah, for sure.
Which means you could literally drink a shot of wine. You're not gonna get malthus, according to if it's revius. Okay. The chayval, we gotta go and pick up some speed here, right? The chayval yain b'fnei atzmain, he's chayav on wine by itself. Al anavim b'fnei atzmain, for grapes by themselves. Yachatzan b'fnei atzmain, zagim b'fnei atzmain.
Which could mean he's liable for wine by itself. We just said.
Obviously, right? I think it's an. Yeah, I'm not sure what's explained. If it
What does that mean?
needs to drink,
It's not talking about the share anymore. It's just talking about like if he drinks wine without the bread.
or wine. No, wine without grape seeds. Wine without grape skin.
We just said it's drinking is a quarter log of wine.
The main point of the mission in enumerating this list is to emphasize that a Nazir is liable even for eating grape seeds by themselves and grape skins by themselves, unlike the view of a Elazar ben Azariah cited in the next Mishnah. Okay. There's a reason why this Mishnah is saying it. We're going to Ratzanim, I think, are the grape seeds. And one is the grape seeds, one's grape skins.
Chatzanim refer to the grape seeds and Zagim are grape skin. Okay.
Look there.
He's not liable till he eats 2 grape seeds and a grape skin. How many seeds are in a skin?
And the grape skin.
Okay. But you're not chayav separately. You need to combine at least 2 seeds and a skin.
Oh, okay. Okay. Got it. Eluhain chatzana ve'eluhain zagin. What are chatzanim and our zagin? We didn't have enough patience. Chatzanim elu hachitzoinim. The chatzanim are the skins. Hazagim elu hapnim, and the zagim are the inner parts, the seeds. Diver Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yossi Amar shaloi sita. So there's not error. Think of the following simile. Kazug shel behema. The grape is like the bell hung on the neck of an animal. Hachitzain zug. So a grape is like a bell on an animal. So, and the chitin is the zug. The outer part of the bell is called zug. Hafnimi inbal. And the in part, the clapper, is called the inbal. Sorry, Rabbi Yossi, but I don't think you helped me over here. With
Okay,
the
but I do
simile.
understand Rabbi Yehuda. Charsani sounds like chutz, the outer part, and zug is the inner part. You need two, a couple, zugim.
Right.
But I mean, that's how I do it. Rabbi Yossi, shalei sit at, so that you'll not err, think of the following simile.
Oh, by the way, Rabbi Yossi disagrees with you that maintains the chatzanim are the seeds, whereas the zug is the skin.
I mean, that's how we explained it before, but
Yeah.
we took it for granted. The note 4 said that. But Rabbi Yossi said he's arguing, right? So that you shall not err, think upon kazuk shall behema, the grape is like the bell hung on the neck of the animal. Okay. It's the outer part. Hachitza zug. The outer part of the bell is called a zug. Ba'pnimi inbal. And the inner part, the clapper, is called the inbal. The inbal. Okay. That doesn't help us as much as we know the outer part is called the zug.
Yeah,
If you have a bell, there's two parts to a bell. You have this, and this is the zug, and then the inside is the inbal. You know the zug, then the inside is the inside. So he argues. Okay.
zug is the skin. So is zug skin?
Yeah.
Or is zug the seeds? That's the machlekes between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi. Okay, zug the Gemara. Let's get going with the Gemara.
Three men are forbidden to the Nazir. The parts of the grapevine, yes, they are forbidden to the Nazir. Gefenat's my lie. But the grapevine itself, the non-fruit parts, says the Rosh, such as the shoots and leaves, is not forbidden to him. He flosses his teeth with them. Interesting. Masnisen, based on this inference, the Gemara remarks, Masnisen late Rebbe Lazar. Our Mishnah, which does not prohibit the grape leaves and shoots to Nazir, does not accord with Rebbe Lazar. Titania, for was taught in the Brisa, Rebbe Lazar, Fila Olan, Ululavin, Bimashma. Even leaves and shoots are meant by the Torah's expression, anything made of the grapevine, and are forbidden to Nazir. The Gemara records a different version of the preceding observation. Ikad Amila Esefa. There are some who say in regard to the later part of the Mishnah, which states, others draw inference that the Mishnah does not accord with Rebbe Lazar from a later part of the Mishnah, not from the earlier part. What does it say? He's not liable until he eats an olive's volume of grapes, right? That's what we said after the lashes component. From the Mishnah's specification of grapes, we infer min anavim ein, from eating an olive's volume of grapes, yes. Mehagef and atzmai loy. Masnis and delay for Rebbe Lazar. Even leaves and shoots are meant by the Torah's expression in the grapevines. So the fact that it says, you want to talk about a kazayas, I'll compare it to kazayas of what? The geffen. Geffen! Grapes, yes, but the grapevine itself, no. Anavim, yes, but geffen actually no. And we know Rebbe Lazar says, punkt in a brisa state, azoi, hiba bones, that even in leaves and shoots.
Yeah.
Now the Gemara investigates the basis of this dispute between Rebbe Lazar and the Rabbanim. Rabbi Elazar Darshani. Rebbe Lazar expounds the verse, the psukim, in terms of amplifications and limitations. Rabbanim Darshi Klolu Prati. Whereas the Rabbanim expound the psukim in terms of Klalu Prat, generalizations and specifications.
This always gets as hard
as the Gemara will proceed to explain.
I think this requires some introduction.
Why can't we have like a Gadata? He was running and he got stuck in a grape tree. Like, why can't we have one of those?
Yeah, Ribu and Mia and Klal Prat. This is big stuff. So let's take a look at a. No, honestly, it looks like they make it nice and succinct over here. So let's see. Note 12. Upon occasion, the Torah pronounces a law by employing a combination of general and specific statements. The Torah might first state the law in a general, expansive way, and then state a specific, restricted application of the law. Or the Torah might state the specific application first, then the general rule. Okay, klal prat, prat klal. Sometimes the description of the law will conclude with yet a third statement, either general or specific. Concrete examples of these occurrences appear in the course of the Gemara's ensuing and lengthy discussion. Hence, we should be doing this introduction because we're about to go into a lengthy discussion. Whenever you have klal and prat and a Gemara, it is going to be lengthy. There is a Tanakh dispute regarding the proper methodology for expounding such combinations of general and specific statements. Best known method is that of klal uprat, generalization and specification, which tends to view the specific statement following the generalization as the definition of the broader statement. So you have a klal and the prat is defining the klal. Accordingly, we read in the Brisa of Rabbi Shmuel, klal prat. Some people say this every day if they come on time to davening.
What does it mean? Which prefaces the sifra? What's sifra? Whatever. Okay. Klal prat im b'klal.
Im b'klal el mashav prat. When you have a klal prat, ein b'klal, the generalization contains nothing more than the specification. Meaning, that's what we just said before, that the prat is explaining everything that the klal says. I.e., the law is limited to the specific case stated in the Torah, which defines the scope of the general law.
So, what does it mean, general, if the specific case is the only case?
If it's something, okay, it's going to probably give examples, and then we'll understand it a bit better, but just, it doesn't give an example. Oh, maybe in the next note.
The lesser known method
is that of riboy umiyat. Honestly, I understand the words riboy umiyat better than amplification and limitation. So I'm going to try to say those whenever I can. Which takes the specification, which takes the prat, to be less restrictive. It does not define the scope of the generalization, but merely limits it to some degree. So,
boggles my mind how much Reb Chaim Kanievsky knew. Like, this wasn't even just I was saying it. Like, anything you just said, like, if you said it to him in Hebrew Yiddish, it'd be like, yeah, no, so.
Well, you keep learning more and more, you'll learn, you'll get there. You'll get there, Eliyahu. This dispute as to whether the specific statement is to be viewed as so this dispute right now, do we go call prat or riboy miyat? This dispute is whether the specific statement is to be viewed as a specification, whereas the limitation also affects how the law is expounded, where the Torah concludes with a third statement, either general or specific. So if you have the call prat klal, as we'll explain in the course of the Gemara's discussion. Okay, so we shall see what this.
Let's do 13 also.
13. Rabbi Lazar and the rabbis argue as to the proper exposition of the Torah's general and specific statements concerning what a Nazir is forbidden to assume. Here we go. The relevant verses read as follows. Miyayin v'shecher yazir choymetz yayin choymet shecher lo yishta. So, I'm going to start translating here. He is to abstain as a Nazir from wine and aged wine, right? So, miyayin v'shecher yazir. And then, choymetz yayin v'choymetz shecher lo yishta. He may not drink wine vinegar or aged vinegar. Chol mishras anavim lo yishta. And nor may he drink anything infused with grapes. Lachim. Right, so far you're trying to count it here? Lachim.
Klal.
And now he's going back more. It said, Chol mishras anavim lo yishta, but now it's going, anavim lachim, and wet grapes. Anavim lachim yivashim. Lo yechal. You also, now it's like prod again. He may not drink anything infused with grapes or eat moist grapes or dried grapes. Kol yimei nizroi mikol asher ye'osa migefen hayayin. Anything that's made from the gefen of the wine. Mechatzanim yadzag. So now it's klal again, but now it's on the prat. Mechatzanim yadzag lo yechal. Okay. In these verses, the Torah first lists specific things forbidden to the Nazir. Wine, aged wine, vinegar, things infused with grapes, and moist and dry grapes. Okay, so that's, I guess, all the pratim. Then the Torah states the general rule: the Nazir may not eat anything made of the grapevine. Right, where was that? Kol mishras anavim? No, mikol asher yes migefen hiyayin. Finally, the Torah concludes with another statement, a specific thing: seeds and skins of the grapes. So again, we have prat, klal, uprat.
Mm-hmm.
You see that it does prat, klal, prat?
It does klal, prat, klal, no? And then ikrat.
So,
Oh no,
it's actually saying
prat, klal, prat.
Yeah, I thought, it's saying prat because it's just talking about different types of wines you can't, and then it's the klal of you can't drink anything from the grapevine, and then again the prat of saying the grape seeds. Yeah, okay, prat, klal, prat. Okay, so that's the machlekes Rav Elazar and the Rabbanan, and let's see. We want to say
So whether or not you darshan ribu miyat and klal prat?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see. Rav Elazar darish ribu miyat. How? As follows: Yain b'shecher yazir miyat. The Torah says he's abstained as a nazir from wine and aged wine. Here the Torah has limited. 14. Yeah. Okay, it's
That's
only
the
listed the first
limitation.
two. That's the pratim, which is a limiting. Again, the way that you would learn it though in the kal prat is that it's defining it, right? Versus this is limiting. Let's read more.
Specify.
Right. Mikol asher ye'asim gefen hayayin riba. The Torah then states from anything of the grapevine. Torah is amplified. Miyat v'riba, riba hakol. And the rule is that when the Torah has limited and then amplified, it is amplified in order to include everything that could be comprised by the amplification. My riba, so what does it include? Riba kol mil, it includes everything made of the grapevine, even leaves and shoots. My miyat, and what does it exclude? Because obviously it has to exclude something. Miyat shivishta excludes the woody branches of the vine. So look, a note 15. Though in the amplification limitation
Hold on
method...
1 second before you read 15. I want to get just spaced out a second. The rule is that when the Torah has limited and then amplified, it is amplified in order to include everything that can be compromised. What does that mean, compromised by the amplification?
Comprised.
Oh, comprised. Okay, sorry. It is amplified in order to include everything that can be comprised by the amplification. Rules on the Torah is limited and then amplified is amplified in order to include everything that can be comprised from it. Okay, what is included? Includes everything the other grapevine, even the leaves and shoots. On my need, and what does it exclude? Made shadishta, it excludes the woody branches of the vine. So that's when it starts with miyat and then riba.
Riboy.
Riba hakal.
Exactly, riba kal. But obviously there still has to be some miyat because there is a miyat.
There's a miyat, right.
So that's what note 15 is about to say.
But then it's not really everything.
Though in the amplification limitation method, the specific items do not entirely restrict the application, they do serve to limit it somewhat. What part of the grapevine then does the Torah mean to exclude from the Nazir's prohibition? That's the woody branches. But everything else is included. We include everything in. That's what's riba. And now let's explain the rabbis. Yeah?
Yeah. So you start with the miyat riba. Interesting, because note 12 was more about the klal of prat.
Yeah.
Like it explained that, I guess, like you said, the miyat and the replay are more well known. Like you knew that right away. Like you're calling it, but you didn't replay. Okay.
I'll tell you why. Because klal prat has like rules. Where it says like a miyat is like, you'll get a pasuk. If it's going to exclude something, right?
Right.
Then it's excluded something. And when it's including something, it includes a lot of things. When you have both, so it is a rule. But when you have riba and miyat, it does include everything, but there is one thing that's going to exclude.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. No.
Rabbanan darshi klal prat. But the Rabbanan darshin klal prate as follows. Miyam b'shecher yazir is a prat. Right? Specifically wine, aged wine. It's specified this type of wine. Then it says mikol asher yasim gefen hayayin, that's a klal. Anything made from the grapevine, now the Torah is generalizing. Then the Torah then goes and gives another prat. Prat, ukal, uprat. And what's the rule? I'ata dan ella ke'ein haprat. You cannot derive anything other than that, what is similar to the specification.
When a specification is followed by a generalization, the generalization is meant to include everything in the law. Consequently, when the generalization is in turn followed by another specification, the final specification serves to restrict the inclusiveness of the generalization to things similar to the specification. Right, so when the specification is followed by a generalization is meant to include everything in the law. I guess everything. But when we then have another specification, we're limiting the inclusiveness of the generalizations to things similar to this final specification. Accordingly, a specification, generalization, specification, product, klal, product, yields basically the same result as a generalization, specification, generalization, klal, product, klal, which also limits us to something, everything similar to the specification. Okay, there's a slight difference, which we'll get to on 35b.
Right. So zooming back out,
Yeah.
you have a prat, klal, uprat. The Torah is saying, these types of wine things you're not allowed to drink, but then it says anything you can't drink, but then it says these types of wine things you can't drink. So what it's saying is that there is a zoomed in view that you have to look at. And that means something, therefore, is not going to be included. And what's that going to be? So Zok Gemara Viter, it's going to...
Maha prat nefarish
branch you got.
silas pre, just as the specification is specifically
Fruit of the vine.
That's what we mentioned at the end, the seed and the
Right.
stuff, right?
So it's the fruit of the vine.
And
Everything
the
is the
waste of the
fruit of the vine, which is like the
Where's that?
seed.
Of the seed, okay.
The vinegar, the chametz.
That was, so this is the first specification? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So just as the specification is specifically fruit of the wine and the waste of the fruit of the vine, av kol pri psalis pri, so to any product of the vine similar to the fruit and the waste of the fruit is prohibited by a Nazir.
Yeah.
Immature grapes, which are fruit, and wormy grapes, which are waste of the fruit, right? They're similar. Ima prat mafarish pri gomer, if one should counter that we should reason instead that just as the specification is specifically a finished fruit of the grapevine, so to any finished fruit of the grapevine is included in the prohibition, Amarta, you would respond, Imkain mar niafacha kasab mashmur shalei amru. If so, what is the pasuk left for you to include in its meaning that it has not stated explicitly? Anavam lachem vishin, fresh and dry groups. Fresh and dry grapes. Ayakside, why are they written explicitly? Yain v'chlemetz. Why are they written explicitly? Yain v'chlemetz, wine and vinegar. Haksivi, why are they written explicitly? Ha'ein alech alodin koloshin afar ala koloshin rishamas. You cannot reason according to the second suggestion, which characterizes the specification strictly as finished fruit, but only according to the first suggestion, which characterizes the specification simply as fruit. I have no clue. I thought we were doing so good with the klal uprat.
We were doing great. I think we were. I think, two things. One, let's finish this. We started a statement and we kind of didn't get to a period. The period that I wanted to say, which I saw towards the last sentence of note 20, was, remember you were saying that just like it's talking about the pre and psilis pre, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the prat. So we said anything of the vine similar to the fruit and the waste of the fruit is prohibited Nazir. And note 20 said, the last sentence, it teaches that not only are ripe grapes and vinegar forbidden, but also immature grapes and wormy ones. However, leaves and shoots are permitted since they're neither fruit nor waste of the fruit. So you see from this klal, that we're only saying things that are like fruit of the vine, but things that are not fruit of the vine is okay.
Let's go back and try.
Right? So, but then it goes unmarked. It's like a whole...
When we say product klal uprat, that second, it's iyatadan alakain prat. You cannot derive anything other than what is similar to the specification.
Mm-hmm.
To the second specification.
So I think there was a note that basically said that a prat klal is very similar to a klal. A prat uklal is very similar to prat uklal uprat.
That was prat uklal uprat is similar to a klal uprat uklal. Yes.
No, but I also think it's similar to when it says a prat uklal.
Okay.
That was note 18.
Yeah.
When a specification is followed by a generalization,
Yeah.
the generalization is meant to include everything in the law.
But then if there's another prat, that's
okay.
limiting the inclusiveness of the generalization. So we said, just as the specification is specifically fruit of the,
So would that mean, I just want to finish that thought.
Yeah.
So if it was a prat uklal, that would be the strictest. Like if it didn't have that final prat, we would say everything is aser. We would say even the shoots of the vine. I'm just saying, right? If you had prat uklal,
yeah, then it would include everything. The klal would include everything in the law.
so that means like everything from the tree, and then you would say
No, if you have a prat uklal, prat uklal would include everything.
Okay, fine. But now that it went back and said prat uklal uprat, so we're specifying that it's only going to be aser similar to
it is
what
adding
that
stuff, but only things that are similar to this last prat.
Okay, which now we're saying is things that are like pre or psilus pre.
Okay, just let me understand that. Just as the specification is specifically fruit of the vine and the waste of the fruit of the vine, but that's not referring to the last. Oh. The final specification serves to assist the inclusiveness of a generalization to things similar to the initial specification.
Where did you see that?
No, I'm referring the last of the end of the paragraph in note 18, end of the first paragraph.
Into the further telling the final specification serves to restrict inclusive generalization to things similar to the
first specification. Because then look what the Gemara says. Mahaprak nefarish pri psalis pri, just as the specification is specifically fruit of the vine and the waste of the fruit of the vine, that's the beginning of the psukim, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? What's the first prat in the pasuk? You said it was wine like and the vinegar, right?
Yeah.
So just
Wine,
as the
vinegar,
specification is specifically fruit of the vine and the waste of the fruit of the vine, so too any product of the vine similar to the fruit and the waste of the vine is prohibited by it to a Nazir. If one should counter that, we should reason instead, just as the specification is specifically, so fine. So we found what that last prat is not minimizing, that's the wrong word. We need to figure out, now that we have a klal prat, klal, and prat, we need to figure out what that last prat is telling us about the first prat. Right? Note 18 said it's there to minimize or restrict the inclusiveness of the generalization. So what that first prat, I'll tell you what it's coming to restrict.
When it says kol asher yasmi gefen is aser.
No.
That generalization.
Oh.
It's serving to restrict the inclusiveness of the generalization. Meaning, the generalization is saying from everything from the white grind.
Right.
No, the third that last prat is saying hold your horses. It's not that expansive. It's specific to what we saw in the first prat.
Okay.
Which is fruit of the wine.
Meaning what is similar to that first prat?
Yeah.
The third one's a lever to minimize the
generalness,
restrictiveness of
the general statement.
Of the general statement, right? By comparing it to something that was mentioned in the first prat.
Yeah.
And what is that thing? Oh, we'll say that it was just as assassination specifically fruit of the vine, the waste of the line, so to any product of the vine similar to the fruit and the waste of the fruit. Anything similar to the fruit and the waste of the fruit. So then I can, and what is that? Immature grapes and wormy grapes. Fine, those are specifically fruitable. That's similar to the fruit. It's immature fruit, and a wormy grape is a waste. So that's what's similar. So that's what should be usher.
Okay.
Then someone will come along and say, no, I'm going to say that, you know what's similar? Not wormy group. He should be able to eat wormy grapes and immature
All right,
grapes.
so that was that. Now you're starting at Amarta, right?
If one should counter that, we should reason instead that just as this specification is specifically a finished fruit of the grapevine, so to any finished fruit of the grapevine is included in the prohibition. Meaning, you're coming to include specifically fruit of the wine and the waste of the fruit of the vine. The specification should be telling me that it's only referring, the similarity rather, is anything that's a finished fruit. Just as you just said, specifically fruit of the wine and the waste of fruit, it should be a finished fruit. And that's what it's coming to include. 21, in order to derive things that are similar to the specification, we must isolate the factors that form the basic character of the specification. Previously, the Gemara characterized the specification as fruit and waste of the fruit, a characterization that would result in the inclusion of immature grapes and wormy grapes in prohibition. The Gemara now considers the objection that a narrower characterization of the specification as finished fruit would preclude applying the prohibition to anything but the item stated specifically in the pasuk.
We're making it something much more specific.
Much more specific, right? That it's a finished fruit and not the immature fruit. We want to say mature fruit is similar to fruit of the vine. No, talking about a fruit of the vine. A fully fleshed out fruit of the vine. You would say, if I would say that, you would say, if so, what has the pasuk left for you to include in its meaning that it has not stated explicitly?
Meaning, it has to teach you something. It has to teach you something extra. As part of this Havamina was even saying, it would only be
The actual
finished fruits.
finished
But then
fruit.
what else is there? There's nothing else it could teach you. It has to be including something else. But by design, a klal prat
Needs to
has
be something similar,
there has to be something else similar that you're including.
not the actual thing.
Exactly. Besides for the actual thing that you're
Right,
saying is also
right.
usher.
If so, as was there another fresh and dry grapes, ksive. Why they are written? Oh, you want to say? Oh, I'll tell you what's similar: fresh and dried grapes, ksive. But that's written specifically, yayin chaymates. Oh no, I'm sorry, ksive. It says that's one of the items that it actually listed: fresh and dried grapes. Please tell me you see it in the pasuk.
Well, grapes. It definitely says grapes, right?
Right. Okay. Yayin b'chaymitz, wine and vinegar. We know it says that. It says that in the beginning. Haksivi, that's already written in the pasuk.
Oh, by the way, no. It actually explicitly says anavim, lachen, v'yavation.
Okay.
It says those.
And then it
things.
says wine and vinegar in the beginning, right?
Yeah, in the thing. Yeah.
Thus, you cannot reason according to the second suggestion that it says finished fruit, but only according to the first suggestion, which characterized the specifications strictly as fruit.
And then it includes the wormy.
The wormy and the immature grapes.
Okay.
That's the similarity. So that's why the Rabbanan say that that's what it includes, but it does not include the grapevine itself.
Right.
According to
Rabbi Lazar.
Rabbi Lazar,
holds
we explained
riba
him already.
miyat. Yeah, we said he does riba miyat. So it's including everything except for the woody branches. But everything else
is riba hakol.
Yeah, except for one small thing. That's a miyat.
Oh, well, and that's the woody branches.
Whatever.
Interesting. Wow, that could have been a lot harder. Hashem was good to us.
Yeah, we
Maskim?
went back in. We're like, no, we're going this line by line. And I think
Can't believe I got it. Kol Siyat B'Shmai.
definitely.
The Gemara continues.
Masha. Shav, it's Eser ve'Eser.
Should we stop here?
You think we should go to Amar Mar? Should probably try. Let's try to go a little more. This is like so hard.
is called Dever. And since ultimately we include everything that resembles the particular, what does that mean? Since ultimately we include everything that resembles the particular, similar, right? We learned that the similar is the wormy. Why does the pasuk state from the seeds to the skin? Why does Torah have to close the sequence with a specification or produce a desired outcome? Why not simply state a specification generalization sequence without a closing specification and let us interpret this simpler construction to mean that anything similar to it? Meaning, why do we need klal prat? Why do we need klal prat if I can learn the same thing out, I imagine, from a prat or klal?
Right, and it says and then the end there's bracket says, though it was necessary to state the seeds and the skin to teach that these are forbidden, the Torah could have placed these specifications together with the other ones before the generalization. No more questions why the Torah stated these specifications after the generalization in order to close the sequence.
I'm assuming you could have, you can learn similar. Don't we need a prat klal prat to learn similarity? Oh, we said before that you could even learn it on a prat or klal, right? The closing specification is there to tell you that wherever you find the specification and generalization, you may not extend it and expound it to include only things similar to the specification. Rather, generalization comes added to the specification and widens the scope of the law to include everything that could be contained in the generalization, meaning not that restricted. In the present case of the Nazir, for example, where if not for the closing specification and generalization, anything made of the grain would have served to include even leaves and shoots in the prohibition. And he doesn't, who's this? Kalaprat, he holds that leaves and shoots are not included. So that's why we come along and
That's why it needs to be a prat, klal, prat.
Because if
it was just a prat and klal, then everything would be aser. Even the vines, even the grapevines, the vines themselves.
Why? That last prat teaches you what?
Makes it that we're not going to include that in the restriction. You got a little confused because you're like, wait, but didn't we just say that you need to be a prat, klal, prat? Yes, it needs to be a prat, klal, prat in order for the vines themselves not to be aser, because it has to be similar to that of the specification.
Say that again.
Which is
say
fruit.
that again. It has to say that again. It has to be
Prat, klal, prat.
To teach you
that it's only specifically the things similar to the fruit or to the, what type of fruit? To the waste of the fruit.
Yeah.
Or the, to the fruit or waste of the
It
fruit.
restricts the inclusiveness of the klal. Okay.
But only of what's similar in the prat. And that's why, because it's a prat, klal, prat, that the grapevine is not aser. But if it would have been, then the Gemara asked, which is a funny question.
Would have made more stuff aser.
Would have made more stuff aser. If it's a prat and klal,
Right.
then everything is aser. Even the grapevine would have been aser. So the Gemara was asking kind of a rhetorical question in a way. It's like, why wasn't it a prat and klal? And you were kind
Then you would have made the generalization would have been less inclusive. More inclusive. It would have been included. It would have included more things.
Yes.
Including the branches.
Exactly.
And according to who is this? The Rabbanon?
Yes.
We don't include the branches. The one of the Nazir does. So that's why it's a klal, private klal.
Yep.
Wow. Just as the specification is specifically fruit of the vine and the waste of the fruit of the vine, I've called so to any product of the vine similar to the fruit and the waste of the fruit is prohibited. That's the immature fruit and the wormy. Pre-invade fruit is reference to grapes. Psolis pre-mahi, what is referred to by waste of fruit? Claymates, vinegar. We touched that up before. I've called pre-mahi, what is included by so to any product of the vine similar to the fruit? Kuharki, immature grapes. They make silly jokes. I've called of Psolis pre-mahi, what is included by so to any in regards to the waste of the fruit? Amarav Kahanali Sui invade different. This comes to include wormy grapes. The adzug, and the Gemara records an additional inference from the verses discussed above, the adzug to the skin. Ravina said, what's this ve'ad? Lesui devein habenayim. This comes to include what is between the seeds and the skin, the pulp of the grape. That's that inside piece.
Isn't that like the juice tab? That's the stuff, no?
No, but I think it's an inside piece.
Oh, there's something else.
Between the seed
There's another piece there.
and the skin is that like the pulp. Yeah, that's like the squishy part of the grape.
Okay. Wow.
Good luck to us tomorrow.
Yeah, I think we're in a good spot. But oh wow, we could have finished it. We're actually almost finished it off. I thought like we didn't do enough, but we actually.
No. We literally got to I thought you wanted to get to the bottom because this is pretty much the end of the dot.
We're good, right? We're
Yeah.
good. We're great.
Wow. Wow. Beautiful.